Penguins go into this one against the Flames on Flames. Let's get it on. Pens and Flames coming up next on Penguins postgame. Let's get rolling. You're locked in to Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Hey, Shooty scores! The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins postgame. PPG for PGH. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Welcome to Penguins postgame. Penguins beat the Flames 6-2 tonight. What's that thing that you always do when the Maple Leafs win? And I'm pretty sure you're gonna do tonight on LFR. Steve Dangle. Shout out to Steve Dangle. Oh yeah, Leafs win. 5-3 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Leafs win 5-3 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Our program, let me try this out. Penguins win 6-2 over the Calgary Flames. There we go. I gave it my best shot. You can let me know there, Steve, how I did in my own interpretation of it for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but all things considered, the Penguins get the job done. They're on a 3-game winning streak. I almost said losing streak. It's a 3-game winning streak for the Penguins. Their first of the 2024-2025 season. Again, that's the first of the 2024-2025 season. And they beat the Calgary Flames tonight in PPG Paints Arena in front of the Penguins Nation 6-2 after losing to Calgary 4-3 in overtime. I should say shootout, in a shootout, because we went to a shootout that night. In that game, back on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024, Ryan Huska and Mike Sullivan are head coaches for this game at PPG Paints Arena, the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the site of tonight's game on Hockey Night in Canada. I tuned in to the game on WXDX FM Pittsburgh, and as we actually do speak here, I have my headset in here, and I actually am tuning into the post-game show as we speak. But we will not mention any of the sponsors of that program because that is without the Pittsburgh Penguins' written consent, and we do not want to do that. So, moving on here as we open up our opening segment. Tonight, the starter for the Penguins in this back-to-back is Alex Nedeljkovic, and he was going head-to-head with Dan Valdar against Alex Nedeljkovic. Tristan Jarry, the backup tonight for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The backup tonight for the Calgary Flames. The man who started against Nedeljkovic last time these two teams played, in Dustin Wolf. Dustin Wolf, the backup to Dan Valdar. Our starter tonight for Calgary, Tristan Jarry, was not the backup in the game on October 22nd, 2024 in Calgary at the Saddle Dome, but he is the backup to Alex Nedeljkovic, who would get the start for the Penguins tonight in goal against Dan Valdar, who was the backup to Dustin Wolf in the game on Tuesday night in Scotiabank Saddledome. And of course, our backup for the Penguins that night was rookie goaltender number 30, Joel Blomqvist. Tonight, the backups were Dustin Wolf and Tristan Jarry. And our goaltenders, Alex Nedeljkovic versus Dan Valdar. And that will bring us to our first break of the program. When we return to Penguins postgame, we'll break down this this monster of a game for the Penguins as they go quite on the haymaker against the Flames tonight. If this was a football game, which it currently was turning into as the game went along, I'd say touchdown Pittsburgh, because that's exactly the number of goals they scored. We'll break it all down in our scores next on Penguins postgame. Yes, Pittsburgh. I agree with the Penguins tweet that just came out now on X. Of course, I call it Twitter. That was indeed fun for the Penguins. The penalty takers also coming your way with our game stats after we take a break. From breaking this down, as the Penguins, as I said earlier, they beat the Calgary Flames 6-2. 6-2 the final tonight at PPG Paints Arena. Penguin post game will continue on Sports for Beginners and streaming on the Ice and Behind the Benches every Wednesday off day when the Penguins do not play on Wednesday night this regular season. In just a moment. Stay with us.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Philip Tomasino strikes again. And the Penguins, speaking of strikes again, strike not once, not twice, but 3 times tonight on the power play. The power play was clicking tonight. And here we go with how this all went down, including the power play. In the first period, it only took 14 minutes and 14 seconds for Anthony Beauvillier to get the party started. And the Penguins would go up. Oh, excuse me. That came at 17 minutes and 14 seconds. It only took Anthony Buvarelli 17 minutes and 14 seconds to get his 7th goal of the season. Blake Lizotte contributing as well. And that was Lizotte's first assist as a Pittsburgh Penguin and first assist of the season. Michael Bunting on the assist as well. His 4th of the season. And wow, after one period of play, it's Pittsburgh 1, Calgary 0. And on that note, the onslaught would not begin in the first period. Actually, the party really began after the first 20 minutes when the Penguins take a penalty after the Flames take a penalty. Talking about that in penalty takers in a little bit later in the program. I'm telling you right now, I think this show is going to be an hour. So let's just see where things take us. With that said, let's continue on with our second period scoring now that the first period scoring is in the book. Michael Bunting, we mentioned he got an assist on the Anthony Beauvillier goal. His 7th of the season. Bunting's goal, a power play goal, PPG for PGH. His 5th of the season. And on the assist, Matt Grzelcyk. His 9th of the season, Chris Letang gets the secondary assist. His 5th of the season. It only took 2 minutes and 40 seconds to make it 2-0 Pittsburgh. Penguins up 2-0. As the old 2-9er would say, it's 2-0 good guys, or 2-0 good guys. rather. Well, that soon became 3-0, good guys. Because after the next Calgary penalty, 9 minutes and 26 seconds again, Philip Tomasino allow him to reintroduce himself as he scores his second goal of the season, second goal as a Penguin, another PPG for PGH, their second of the game. Chris Letang, second assist of the game, sixth of the season. And Michael Bunting, speaking of seconds, second assist of the night. And fifth of the season. For him. 9 minutes and 2 seconds in. That was the goal. That was the time of the goal. So let me just reiterate that. 9 minutes and 2 seconds in, not 26 seconds in, after Calgary took another penalty. Philip Tomasino made them pay. And it's 3-0, good guys, on 2 power play goals by the Penguins. After 40, it's Penguins 3, Calgary 0. Penguins lead 3-0 after 40 minutes. And here's where it gets interesting. But this is kind of where you think it's already 3-0 in favor of the Penguins. So the game's over, right? Wrong. Well, actually, right. But you're going to know what I mean in a second. Here we go in the third period. Here we go. And Ricky Rat, as the old 2-9er would say, Ricard Raquel gives the Penguins a 4-0 lead with his 10th goal of the season, making it 4-0 Pittsburgh, 4-0 Pens. Sidney Crosby on the assist, his 17th of the season, 5th of the season for Brian Rust. 5 minutes and 25 seconds in to the third period. And we talked about the Penguin power play. They scored 3 times tonight on the power play. Here's number 3. Number 58, Chris Letang hits the third power play goal of the game for the Penguins and makes it 5-0, good guys, with his third goal of the season. Matt Grzelcyk picks up assist number 10 on the season, his second assist of the evening. And Kevin Hayes picks up his second assist as a Penguin and of the season. On that goal, 7 minutes and 59 seconds in. Penguins feeling pretty comfortable. They got a 5-goal lead on Calgary. Calgary is going to have a long road to climb. Well, Jonathan Huberdeau said, bring it on. And gets Calgary on the board. It's 5-1. It's 5-1 Pens. Jonathan Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri said, bring it on. And they score Calgary's first 2 goals. Both their 8th goal of the season. Kadri on the assist of Huberdeau's goal, his 7th of the season. That's for Nazem Kadri. Martin Popsello, his 8th assist of the season. Kevin B, his 8th assist of the season. Huberdeau picks up his 7th assist of the season on Kadri's 8th goal of the season. And on Huberdeau's 8th goal of the season, Kadri picks up assist number 7 on the season. But just like that, 2 quick goals, even though it's all but over, but the shouting. At 14 minutes and 27 seconds in, and then 15 minutes and 5 seconds in, it's 5-2 Pens over the Flames. Penguins 5. Flames 2. And then Blake Lizotte said, you know what? We might be taking our foot off the gas pedal here. So I'm just going to make sure that that is not the case. And he blanks Dan Valder for the 6th goal in this hockey game for Pittsburgh. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Unable to get the extra point, but damn, did it feel good. Penguins beat the Flames 6-2. Damn, did that feel good. They tied the season series 1 game apiece and close out that season series on a high note. But damn, did it feel good to get that much goals. That many goals, I should say. I forgot to get in. Oh no, I got it. I got the goal there by Blake Lizotte. There we go. I want to make sure I got that goal by Blake Lizotte in there on my notes there. Anyways, Drew O'Connor on the assist, the only assist for that goal. His 5th of the season and only of the game. And the Penguins comfortably come away with a 4-goal win tonight in PPG Paints Arena, winning 6-2 over the Calgary Flames, scoring 3 PPG for PGA goals. That's 3 power play goals for Pittsburgh. One of the best performances I've seen this season. Penalties coming up. And given our time limit, because I actually don't want this to be an hour, but it might just be an hour. But given our time limit, we are going to make sure that we have time for the game, puck of the game. So with that being said, we are not going to take a look around a busy NHL Saturday night. But we are going to give you the game stats after the penalty takers. Shouldn't take us long since only one penalty was taken by Pittsburgh in the first period. And then it was kind of a Calgary takes a penalty, Pittsburgh will take a penalty, and then Calgary goes back to back with penalties. And then Pittsburgh will take one more penalty. And then Calgary back to back to back penalties in the third. I honestly don't even know what to say, Pens fans. And I obviously don't know what to say, Pens fans and Flames fans. I honestly don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. So with that being said, we'll take a break, come back with the penalty takers, game stats, by totals, 3 stars, all coming up next on Penguins postgame when we return. Stay with us. Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
Hello? How are you, my friend? Why? What's the matter? Why feeling bored and lonely? Look at me. I am always happy. The only reason? I can tell you, it's because I listen to CNT Radio. All the best shows you can think of. The Melting Pot, the Cosmopolitan Culture Club, and the Song Bank. There are also many more new shows to come. Please make sure to visit her website at http://siennaT.wordpress.com/siennaT-radio. Oh, now I can hear you more cheerful.
CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Penguins score a touchdown and they win 6-2 over the Calgary Flames. Welcome back into the Penguins post-game studio here in Sports for Beginners. We are coming to you live from Mississauga, Ontario. The game went down in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, down on 5th Avenue. And yet again, for the third time this season, as the Penguins are now on a 3-game winning streak for the first time this season. It's another 2-point party on 5th Avenue. And you know what that means? 10-piece chicken McNuggets at your local McDonald's in Pittsburgh, as well as another free Big Mac at your local McDonald's in Pittsburgh. And not only that, actually, no, that's all you get. That's all you get. Russ didn't score on the power play tonight. Russ did not score on the power play tonight. Brian Rust did not score on the power play, or did not score in tonight's game, I should say. But he did contribute in ways that he could. And so, with that being said, it is time for our penalty takers. Who took penalties in this game? Well, why don't we just start with the middle frame and then make our way to the first period? No, it's okay. We'll go by period and start at the beginning. But really, the only penalty in this game that was taken in the first period was Ryan Shea. He went to the box 2 minutes for hooking, 4 minutes and 16 seconds into the game's first period. Shortly after that, actually a lot later after that, because the Penguins didn't score until literally maybe 3 minutes left in the first period, given our time of the goal was 17 minutes and 14 seconds for the first goal of this hockey game. And with that said, that is the only penalty taken in the first period. Penalties to take in the second period. Well, Connor Zary, he goes to the box for Calgary as the first Calgary Flame to find the sin bin at 2 minutes and 33 seconds in. His penalty is a 2-minute minor for slashing. And then Blake Lizotte. Speaking of Blake Lizotte, he picks up a 2-minute minor for tripping. 2 minutes and 57 seconds in, but it was on the goal by Michael Bunting that the Penguins make Calgary pay for that Connor Zary slashing call. Connor Zary slashing was the call on him. And it didn't get much better for Calgary after that. They do kill off the penalty they take at 15 minutes and 53 seconds. But they unfortunately are not able to kill off this penalty at 7 minutes and 4 seconds by Braden P. Braden P takes a penalty for delay of game puck over the glass, and Philip Tomasino makes him pay. That's Philip Tomasino. He makes him pay he makes Braden P pay for that, but ultimately also gives Pittsburgh a 3-goal lead that they would hang on to for quite a while. And they hang on to a 4-goal lead after they built a 5-goal lead that they blew because the Flames were able to score 2 goals rather, to at least avoid being shut out in this game. And you know the old saying, you can't win if you can't score? That certainly was the theme of the night until Jonathan Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri said, okay, that's enough. We need goals, and we need them now. And they went to work. Rasmus Anderson was responsible for that penalty, which was a roughing penalty against Sidney Crosby at 15 minutes and 53 seconds. But the Calgary Flames avoid disaster and make sure they kill this penalty off before Pittsburgh goes 3 for 3 on the power play. Then they force Pittsburgh to take their third and final penalty of the game. And speaking of 87, that's who is responsible for a hook. A hooking minor to Sidney Crosby. Literally seconds left in the second period. The penalty coming to Sid at 19 minutes and 19 seconds. 2-minute minor for hooking to Sidney Crosby. To the third period we go, where it was back to back to back penalties for Calgary. You're playing with fire, Calgary. And they definitely were playing with fire. And they got burned. But, bright side, they kill off 2 penalties. Not including the penalty taken by number 21, Kevin Rooney. Actually, let me just check. When did they score this next one? Yes. They did not get lucky with the penalty taken by Kevin Rooney. Chris Letang makes him pay. 7 minutes and 59 seconds into that power play. Or I should say into the third period, rather. And that is when the Penguins would score their third and final power play goal. Third and final PPG for PGH this game and for the evening. And with that being the case, luckily, the Calgary Flames are able to avoid 4 power play goals or even 5 power play goals as they find a way to kill off penalties to Martin Popsell, Martin P. If I'm pronouncing the name wrong, Martin, I apologize. But with that being said, Martin P, his 2-minute minor for tripping, 10 minutes and 50 seconds in, is taken care of. Rasmus Anderson recipient of a penalty in the third period. And this one, guess what? It ends up being a game misconduct. When was the last time we saw that happen? When was the last time we saw that happen? We haven't seen that happen yet on Penguins postgame. Well, actually, we kind of have, but maybe in the preseason. If I have my memory correct, I'll check that. I'll check some of the highlights as we can from some of the latest Penguins games, but the Penguins do score 3 power play goals for the first time this season, I believe. But anyways, they get 3 power play goals, score 6 goals in the game total. The Flames score 2 goals in this game. And again, Rasmus Anderson's penalty is a 10-minute game misconduct penalty. So 10 minutes for game misconduct. Oy. Oy. Rasmus Anderson. Wow. I can't think of anybody on the Calgary Flames I would not want to get a game misconduct, even against the Penguins. You are one of the big candidates I would think of, other than anyone else, on the Calgary Flames roster that I would expect to take this kind of penalty. Time of that penalty, 18 minutes, 23 seconds. Luckily for the Calgary Flames, they are able to kill that one off. Whew. Whew. I don't know about you, Flames fans and Penguin fans, but I'm exhausted. Like, I was exhausted trying to keep up with this. I was actually following a game. I'm not really covering these games yet, but I was following the 2 games from the PWHL's season opener. Congratulations to the Toronto Scepters on their 3-1 win over the Boston Fleet. want to make sure I get that right. They were playing the Fleet. They were hosting the Fleet, rather, in their home opener. And Season 2's PWHL opener, season opener, I should say. We'll talk about that on the first edition of 2024-2025 for PWHL recap, which I'll talk about more in a little bit later on before we close out the program. But also, I want to extend a congratulations to the Montreal Victoire, who picked up a 4-3 victory. And they had to work for this. Let me tell you, they had to work for this. The Ottawa Charge would not allow Montreal to win their home opener easily. They would not allow the Montreal Victoire to win their home opener easily. The Victoire pick up a 4-3 W. They pick up a 4-3 win in a shootout against the Ottawa Charge. And who should be the hero of that game but MPP Marie-Philippe Poulin comes up with the shootout winner. 60 minutes, not enough in this game. 65 minutes, not enough. We need to decide it in a shootout. And it's Marie-Philippe Poulin, who didn't score her first time on the ice, but second time's the charm. And that was the goal that sent this game to say good night from Place Bell Arena. Speaking of good night, we'll be back with more in a moment with Penguins post game in just a moment. But before we take the break, as promised, time for our game stats. I'll bring those to you courtesy of the NHL app. Download the app for yourself to follow your favorite team all year long. All right. How did we do in this game? Well, I'll tell you one thing. The Pittsburgh Penguins penalty kill was on point. Perfect. 3 for 3 on the evening. Their power play, 3 for 5 on the power play. So things getting a bit easier for Calgary. However, they do lose the game 6-2. But they go 2 for 5 on the penalty kill. The final face-off total. This game saw 65 face-offs. And the Penguins won 53.8% of those face-offs, winning 35 out of 65. And that's Tristan Jarry's number, by the way, that he wears for the Penguins. So they won 35 out of 65. I kind of want to be funny here. So they won Tristan Jarry out of Erik Karlsson. Erik Karlsson number was the number of face-offs that the Penguins and the Flames saw tonight. But the Penguins won 35 out of 65. And just for a little humor there, they won Tristan Jarry's number out of Erik Karlsson's number. And speaking of that, the Calgary Flames won 46.2% of those faceoffs, winning 30 out of 60. Out of 65, I should say. So 30 out of 65 of those faceoffs tonight were won by the Calgary Flames. They won 46.2% of the faceoff as a result. The Penguins outshot the Calgary Flames 43-32. But in terms of penalty minutes, the Calgary Flames spent 20 minutes in the penalty box. That's basically they spent a period in the penalty box. Meanwhile, the Penguins spent 6 minutes in the penalty box, but the Calgary Flames spent 20 minutes in the penalty box. That's how long a period is supposed to go. That's how long a game period is supposed to go. Another upside, though, for the Calgary Flames, they out-hit the Penguins 16-12. But the Penguins have the upper hand, except in takeaways. They blocked 23 of Calgary's shots. Calgary blocked 13 of Pittsburgh's shots on goal. The giveaways, well, the Penguins may have given it away 13 times, so that's another upside for Calgary. They gave it away 10 times. And they took it away from Pittsburgh. Calgary took the puck away from Pittsburgh 14 times. They also see the Penguins taking the puck away 4 times tonight. So the Penguins were heavily outshooting the Calgary Flames tonight. Up next, 3 stars of the game, the play of the game, plus our shake of the game. And then after the final break of the program, before we wrap it up with what's next for the Penguins, what's next for the Flames, we'll talk about a game puck of the game. And of course, I'll provide you with the first game this season of the PWHL's 2024-2025 regular season. I will be covering and give you a little taste of what's in store this season on PWHL Recap. Super excited to bring that back to you, even as Season 3 of Sports for Beginners wraps up this holiday season. With that all being said, back to wrap this up in 2 segments time. But first, the 3 stars of the game, the play of the game, and the shake of the game. All that next on Penguins Postgame. Stay with us. Hi, everyone. Scott McGregor here. Oh, what's that? What's that? Do you hear what I hear? Do you hear what I hear? Come out and join us for the Season 3 Sports for Beginners Christmas Party Finale this December on Sports for Beginners. We'll talk about everything from our top 10 episodes, our podcast wrap up, a little bit of sports talk mixed in. Plus, I would love to know what your favorite holiday traditions are. So come on out and join us. Come on out and join us. Actually, better than that, come spend the holidays with us here on Sports for Beginners. It's certainly going to be a great show. That's Sports for Beginners Season 3 Finale Christmas Party Extravaganza coming this December on Sports for Beginners. It will be a pre-recorded program, so make sure you tune in. And if you'd like to be involved, send an email to sportsforbeginners podcast8231@gmail.com. Happy holidays, everybody! From all of us here at Sports for Beginners.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
We welcome everyone back to Penguins Postgame here on Penguins Postgame. 2 more segments to do here tonight as we are celebrating a 2-point party on 5th Avenue. The Penguins beat the Calgary Flames 6-2. They're on a 3-game win streak coming out of this game with a big victory, and it's their first 3-game win streak this season of 2024-2025. All right, what's next for the Pens? What's next for the Flames? Coming up in a matter of moments in our next final segment, but we should have done this before, but we had so much to get to. So here we go with our 3 stars of the game. If you were listening to it on the Penguins Radio Network, of course, disclaimer, we are not sponsored by these things I'm going to mention right now. The play of the game is brought to you by Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. And the 3 stars of the game, which we're going to get into in just a few minutes, in just actually a minute, are brought to you by your neighborhood Ford stores in Pittsburgh. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Disclaimer again, we are not sponsored by Ford in Pittsburgh. We are also not sponsored by Rivers Casino. So with that being said, here we go with our 3 stars of the game. Your 3rd star tonight. He did absolutely magnificent tonight. Yes, he gives up 2 goals. Yes, he gives up 2 goals tonight for the Penguins, but the Penguins pick up the dub, and yes, I mean, there are no easy wins here for the Penguins, but this certainly looked like an easy win right at the beginning of the game. But anyways, there are no easy wins. So just keeping this down to the 3rd star of the game is Alex Nedeljkovic. He was magnificent tonight, ending the game with a save percentage .938, a save percentage of .938, a goals against average of 2.2, 202, I should say. He is your 3rd star of the night. Your 2nd star of the night, 3 points in the game, 2 assists, and a goal. That goal, by the way, on the power play. It's number 8, Michael Bunting. Bunting and Nedeljkovic are your stars for numbers 3 and 2. And your 1st star tonight, just like Michael Bunting, 3 points on the game, 2 assists, and a goal. Give it up for number 58, Christopher Letang. Michael Bunting, and Alex Nedeljkovic are your 3 stars of the game. Tanger, Bunting, Nedeljkovic, your 3 stars of the game. Time now for your play of the game. And my play of the game is going to go to, I mean, there's a lot that I could talk about, but my play of the game, I'm going to give it to Chris Letang. So, a play of the game kind of similar to the old 2 Niners play of the game, which went to Ricky Rax, as he called them, Ricard Raquel. But mine's going to go to Christopher Letang. It's going to go to Tanger. 3rd power play goal of the game for the Penguins. 3rd goal of the season for Christopher Letang. And not to mention, Matt Grzelcyk picks up his 2nd assist of the game. His 2nd assist of the hockey game. His 10th of the season. And Kevin Hayes picks up his 2nd assist of the season. And as a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Chris Letang's goal is good enough for my play of the game. Time now for our shake of the game, and due to time constraints, because I want to leave time for our game puck of the game. And I want to also leave some time to talk about the Professional Women's Hockey League, which just got started today. Before we came on the air, they had 2 games. One in Toronto at Coca-Cola Coliseum, and one at Place Bell Arena in Quebec, I believe. Regardless, we'll talk about that in a little bit. The Shake of the Game brought to you by, or rather inspired by, our friends over at the Milkshake Factory and our good friend who is now at Tampa Bay Lightning, Jake Gensel. He is now a Tampa Bay Lightning player, but when he was a Pittsburgh Penguin, he inspired this segment when he had the Milkshake Factory, the official milkshake of the Pittsburgh Penguins, go with this ad, half off Jake Shakes next day at the Milkshake Factory. Half off Jake Shakes next day at the Milkshake Factory. We wish Jake nothing but the best of luck where he is right now, which is Tampa Bay, as I mentioned. But with that said, of course, as you all know, Brian Rust took over the tradition of half-off milkshakes at the Milkshake Factory the day after the game with his own little shake, Rusty Shakes. Unfortunately, despite the Penguins getting a W, no half-off Rusty Shakes after this game for tomorrow on the off day. But that's okay. Time to rest and recharge ahead of Tuesday night's contest against the Florida Panthers. Tuesday night. More on that in just a moment. Let's get to it, shall we? And we're going to start with the Calgary Flames. Now, it wasn't his best performance in goal tonight, but I'm going to go with Dan Valdare. I'm going to go with Dan Baldar. I'm going to go with Dan V as my shake of the game recipient pick-me-up for him. I still thought, despite giving up 6 goals, 3 at even strength, 3 on the power play, and seeing 43 shots on goal tonight, I still thought his 37 saves that he made were good. He played the entire 60 minutes of the game, ends the game with a save percentage of .860, a save percentage of .860, and again, Alex's save percentage, .938. Just going to double check that. Yes, .938 is the save percentage for Alex Nedeljkovic. And speaking of Nedeljkovic, I could pick anybody for the Pittsburgh Penguins for a shake of the game. I could pick anybody. But I'm going to go to him because I believe Alex Nedeljkovic stood on his head tonight. He made 30 saves, gave up 2 goals, all at even strength, and faced 32 Calgary shots. besides those 2 shots that went in for Calgary, he stopped all 30 shots he faced from the Calgary Flames tonight, playing 59 minutes and 18 seconds on the ice. So the goaltenders have the shake of the game as a recipient. Dan V with the recipient for Calgary. And we also see Alex Nedeljkovic picking up the rubber, or the hardware rather, for the Penguins tonight for the shake of the game. Unfortunately, as we go into our next segment, we don't have time for the game puck of the game. So on the other side of this quick break, we will wrap it up. I will touch on a few of my thoughts from opening day from the PWHL with 2 games in the book. Both games won for Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, and Boston. I'll provide some of my thoughts there. But right off the jump, when we return, what's next for the Penguins and what's next for the Flames? Again, like I said in the Vancouver post-game show, one thing we know for sure, the Calgary Flames will not see the Penguins for the rest of this season. So I guess right now you could say they're 2 for 1. They're 2-1, I should say, when it comes to getting even in season series in the Western Conference that they lost the opener of and have yet to tie the series. They did it against Vancouver just the other night on Wednesday night before the American Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday. And then they did it again tonight here on a Saturday, beating the Flames 6-2. Back to wrap it up. What's next for the Pens? What's next for the Flames? And some of my thoughts from opening day in the PWHL. We don't have time for a teaser for my recap on PWHL this season, so that's okay. I'll just provide you some of my opening night thoughts on Scepters versus Fleet and Victoire versus Charge. That after this break, and after what's next for the Flames, what's next for the Penguins. Stay with us, wrapping up on the other side. Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
All right, everybody. All right. It is time to shut down Penguins post-game. Penguins and the Flames. The final score tonight in Pittsburgh. Penguins 6, Flames 2. And as I said, we're doing this, though, via the NHL app and via the Pittsburgh Penguins app. Let's start with the Penguins. The next 5 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, 2 months in the books. It's time to get to our 3rd month of the season. And that begins with this 2-game homestand that started with Calgary tonight, wrapping up Tuesday night as the Penguins welcome in the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. For the first game, the Panthers will play against the Penguins this season. Of many, they will still play the Panthers for a few games this season, including one in January, part of an ongoing road trip that will start on New Year's Eve, which is in this month that begins tomorrow. And if you are catching our Boston recap tomorrow as well, you probably will, as well as our end of the month program from this month for Weekly in Sports. You probably will catch that as well over the course of our December month. But keeping it to our next 5 games for the Penguins. The Penguins will face the Panthers Tuesday night. Head out to the Big Apple for a showdown with the Rangers. And then it's time for another edition of Hockey Night in Canada. And not only that, it's time for another edition of Matthews versus Crosby, as the Maple Leafs are in Pittsburgh for a showdown on Hockey Night in Canada. Then Nathan MacKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche are in town the following Tuesday night for the first of 2 between the Avalanche and the Penguins. They will see the Avalanche one more time this season, and that won't be until March. After, guess what? They played the Maple Leafs for the final time this season. But anyways, after that game against Nathan MacKinnon and the Avalanche, the Montreal Canadiens will welcome in the Pittsburgh Penguins for the next matchup. Their third matchup this season between the Canadiens and the Penguins. And guess what? It is the final matchup this year between the Canadiens and the Penguins. So wouldn't you know it, before the Penguins even have an opportunity to play the Philadelphia Flyers, as well as other teams they haven't played yet, they will be done with the Montreal Canadiens on Thursday night. And that is where our next five wraps up. They're home to the Florida Panthers on Tuesday night. On the road Friday night against the Rangers. Then the Leafs are in town on Saturday night as the Penguins return to Pittsburgh. And then the Avalanche are in town. And then back on the road. This one is a 2-game road trip that will start on Thursday, December 12th, 2024. And wouldn't you know it, everybody, that is when we will be 1 week away, because after the Kings, the Predators, and the Devils, we will be 1 week away from Christmas, because before the break, the short break that is, the Flyers will be in town just before Christmas. That's our next five: Panthers, Rangers, Leafs, Avalanche, Canadiens. How about for the Calgary Flames? Well, they won't be seeing the Penguins anytime soon. But here's who they will be playing next. Just like the Penguins, they will be back in action, hoping to stop their skid of a 4-game losing streak in which began after they beat the Minnesota Wild at home in a shootout, and also beat the Islanders in a shootout, while at the same time beating the Rangers, not on back-to-back days, days off in between. Their road trip began with a loss against Ottawa, then Detroit, then Columbus, and now tonight the Penguins. They're hoping to take the sweet taste of revenge against the Columbus Blue Jackets when they play 2 games at home, Tuesday night and Thursday night. This Thursday, the 5th of December. Both games at 9 p.m. Eastern. And they will play the Blues on Thursday. They'll play the Jackets on Tuesday. On the road for 2 in Dallas on Sunday. And then next Tuesday night, December 10th, they are in Nashville for a showdown with the Predators. And then that kicks off a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game homestand for the for the Calgary Flames, beginning with the Lightning in town on December 12th, 2024. The next 5 for the Flames as we sit here. Home to Columbus on Tuesday, home to the Blues on Thursday, at the Dallas Stars Sunday, at Nashville next Tuesday, December 10th, and hosting the Lightning next Thursday, December 12th, 2024. All right. Quick thoughts here on opening night in the PWHL. We don't have time to do a teaser for PWHL recap, so I'm just going to provide you with some of my opening thoughts from this game, or from these games that have gone down. Happy birthday to Kristen Campbell. Gets a win on her birthday. And I want to say it looked like a pretty competitive game in Toronto today at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Both goaltenders looked like they were playing, we got to keep the puck out of the net so that the goal scorers can't score. But in the end, the Scepters win it 3-1 over the Fleet. So, all in all, I thought it was a really good game. Some costly penalties to clean up for both Boston and Toronto. Let's go over to the nightcap at 5 o'clock earlier today, 5 p.m. Eastern. That was the Charge, I should say, at the Victoire. Same thing. Very competitive game. Right till the very end. And then how about that for Marie-Philippe Poulin, able to send her team to victory in their home opener, winning 4-3 over the Ottawa Charge. But very, very competitive games by both squads. PWHL recap will return on Monday as we recap the game tomorrow between Minnesota Frost and the New York Sirens. I would tell you what's on tap for that, but we don't have time for it. So, with that said, that'll pretty much put a wrap on this edition of Penguins Postgame. The next time you can hear me will be when the Penguins battle the Rangers on Friday night. And I will also be with you for the Leafs and Pens on that Saturday night as well. Thomas has you on Tuesday night when the Pens host the Panthers. But until then, Penguins fans, enjoy your day off Sunday. Enjoy the day off Monday as well. Penguins win it 6-2 over the Calgary Flames. They are now sitting 7th in the Metropolitan Division. They jumped over the New York Islanders and the Columbus Blue Jackets. But the Islanders jumped back over the Penguins to be in that 6th spot in the Metro. something can be brewing for this Pittsburgh Penguins hockey team. As always, I am Scott McGregor. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go, Pens! And I look forward to catching up with you again Friday night when the Pens take on Mika Zibanejad and their metropolitan rivals, the New York Rangers. That is when you'll catch me next. Thomas has you for Pens and Panthers, which is next time on Penguins Postgame. Until then, good night, everybody. From Penguins Postgame, we will see you again soon. Good night, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins Hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Thank you so much for checking in to Penguins postgame this season, Penguins fans. Your host of the Sports for Beginners podcast, Scott McGregor, here. I just wanted to let you guys know that it brings me great joy to bring you a show like the one we brought you last year, and it brings me even more joy with everything that has come out of it as well. As we try to navigate through quite a year with milestone after milestone in the month of October and the month of September. As mentioned again, my name is Scott McGregor, but if you have any questions, any concerns, any content you want aired on the program, please send me an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. Once again, that's sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast and for listening to this episode of Penguins Postgame. We will see you next time right here on Sports for Beginners. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.